Imagine standing in the center of the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium right now.
Oh, the tension must be incredible.
Right, because it is Friday, May 29, 2026, and the atmosphere around Real Madrid, which is, one of the biggest, most successful sports institutions on the planet, is practically vibrating with panic.
It really is.
And we have a massive stack of sources for you today. We're doing a deep dive into some intense, highly detailed Spanish football analysis, insider roundtable transcripts, tactical breakdowns, the works.
Yeah, and what all these sources reveal isn't just like a team hitting a rough patch.
No, not at all.
We are looking at a multi-layered existential crisis. I mean, the on-pitch product is deteriorating at an alarming rate.
Which is obviously triggering a massive tactical upheaval.
Exactly. And then that upheaval is spilling directly into this vicious, high-stakes boardroom battle for the club's presidency.
Usually, when we talk about a failing system, there's this expectation of precision. Like, you look at the blueprints of a building, you spot the cracked pillar, and the architect just points and says, there it is, fix that.
Right, a simple fix.
But when you step into the world of elite football, those blueprints become incredibly murky. So we are so glad you are joining us for this deep dive today, because our mission is to extract the signal from that noise and basically connect the dots for you.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the symptoms of this crisis are glaringly obvious the second the referee blows the whistle. The defense isn't just in a slump. The sources make it very clear. It is a fundamental structural collapse.
Yeah, and to understand the actual mechanism of that collapse, we have to look at the physical reality of aging in modern football.
All right.
Specifically, we need to talk about Antonio Rüdiger.
Yes, the anchor of that defense for years.
Exactly. But he is now 33 years old, and he's been carrying the physical toll of, continuous injuries.
Right, which adds up.
It really does. For years, Rüdiger's entire defensive identity was built on sheer, overwhelming physical exuberance.
Just dominating people.
Right. He was so incredibly fast and strong that he could comfortably mask his own positional flaws.
Yeah.
If he took a wrong step or, misjudged a pass.
He'd just make up for it.
Exactly. He would simply outsprint the attacker, muscle them right off the ball, and completely neutralize the threat.
But the sources have this staggering detail from a recent match that really highlights how that safety net has just completely vanished.
Oh, it's brutal.
It really is. Dani Olmo, who is a brilliant player, obviously, but someone absolutely nobody would describe as a speedster.
Definitely not.
He actually outran Rüdiger by a full 20 meters in a straight foot race.
Wow.
I mean, that is just wild to visualize. 20 meters.
And it forces a complete psychological and tactical shift for a defender. Rüdiger knows he doesn't have that elite recovery speed anymore.
So what does he do?
Well, consequently, he's begun essentially hiding in highly conservative positions on the pitch. Yeah, instead of holding a high line with the rest of the defense, he drops incredibly deep. He's trying to save energy and guarantee he doesn't get dragged into those exact foot races.
But wait, the knock-on effect of that one player dropping deep, that must be catastrophic for the rest of the defensive structure.
Oh, it shatters the entire system. I mean, a successful offside trap requires perfect synchronization, right?
The whole line has to step up together.
Exactly, to catch the attacker offside. By dropping 5 or 10 yards deeper than the rest of his teammates, Rüdiger single-handedly breaks the offside trap.
Man, that's rough.
And furthermore, he creates this massive, empty pocket of space between the midfield and the defense.
Which opposing attacking midfielders absolutely love.
They thrive there. They can receive the ball, turn, and run directly at the back line. So Rüdiger is trying to survive the game physically, but the mechanism of his survival is actively sinking the ship.
Right, so you have the aging veteran trying to hide, and then on the flip side, you have the youth stepping in to fill the gaps. Which brings us to Raúl Asensio.
Yeah, Asensio.
He stepped up during an injury crisis, but I gotta say, the technical analysis of his game in these transcripts is just brutal.
It is, because Asensio's issues stem from conceptual confusion rather than, physical decline.
What do you mean by conceptual confusion?
Well, he routinely misreads the phase of play. The tactical breakdowns highlight specific recurring moments where an opposing winger has the ball out wide, right?
Okay.
And Asensio drops deep into his own penalty box to defend a cross that clearly isn't coming yet.
Oh, wow. So he's just abandoning a spot.
Exactly. He abandons his assigned zone, which just allows opposing midfielders to jog up to the edge of the penalty area completely unmarked, receive a cutback pass, and take a free shot.
That's a disaster.
And you combine that fundamental tactical confusion with severe behavioral issues.
Not the cards.
Yeah, taking unnecessary, frustrated yellow cards in areas of the pitch completely removed from the actual play, you basically have a massive liability masquerading as a solution.
You know, reading through these transcripts, I couldn't shake this analogy. Asensio seems to be suffering from a massive disconnect between reality and his own PR.
Oh, completely.
It's like an understudy in a Broadway show who stepped in and saved one single performance when the lead actor got a cold.
Right.
And now he's demanding his name in neon lights on the marquee, completely ignoring the fact that he actually doesn't know the lines for the rest of the play.
That is the perfect way to look at it.
Yeah.
He bought into the media narrative that he was the generational savior of the defense.
But the fundamentals just aren't there.
No, the tactical grounding to back up that narrative just doesn't exist. But, the defensive crisis we are dissecting here isn't operating in a vacuum.
Right.
It is heavily exacerbated by the elephant in the room, the attacking imbalance.
Ah, yes. The Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. dilemma.
Precisely. Their undeniable failure to seamlessly coexist defensively forces the entire team to rely on individual moments of brilliance rather than collective stability.
Because they just aren't defending.
Right. When your two most advanced, dangerous players do not participate in a cohesive defensive structure, when they just don't track back to help regain possession.
It leaves everyone else out to dry.
Exactly. The mathematical pressure on your midfield and your already crumbling defense becomes completely unsustainable over a full 90-minute match.
Right.
So a radical rebuild of the midfield and defense isn't a luxury at this point. It is literally the only way forward.
Which brings us to the rumored arrival of José Mourinho, because to fix a profoundly unbalanced team, you need a ruthless manager.
And the sources universally point to him as the architect of this impending rebuild.
But here is the massive question I have. How does a manager whose greatest tactical successes came in a completely different era of football adapt to the hyper-intense reality of 2026?
That is the core tactical dilemma of the current era.
It really is. Right.
Because to understand the friction here, we have to examine Mourinho's historical methodology, specifically a concept called tactical periodization.
Okay, break that down for us.
Well, historically, Mourinho doesn't build his players' physical fitness by having them run, mindless laps around the pitch or do isolated weight training.
He does it all with the ball.
Exactly. He builds their cardiovascular fitness and their tactical muscle memory simultaneously.
Through real game scenarios.
Yes. Highly specific real game scenarios in training. You drill the defensive shape over and over against a live attack until that shape becomes completely subconscious.
Right. So going back to our analogy, it's like meticulously rehearsing a complex Broadway play for months before opening night.
Right.
But the problem is, in modern football, they are already performing it live in front of an audience every single night.
Exactly. Just look at the sheer volume of the modern football calendar. We are talking about 64-plus game seasons now.
It's insane.
Domestic leagues, the newly expanded Champions League format, the UEFA Nations League for all the international players, and the massive new expanded Club World Cup.
Which leaves no time for practice.
Mourinho simply has 0 days left to run these critical, intense training sessions. The 48 or 72 hours between matches are entirely dedicated to ice baths, physical recovery, and maybe watching a little bit of video analysis.
So if he can't drill his system into them on the training pitch, the fundamental math of his philosophy is in serious trouble.
Oh, completely.
And I want to look closely at this pressing math, because Mourinho's entire philosophy relies on rapid ball recovery and lethal transitions.
Right. You press, you steal the ball, you score.
But wait, if the goalkeeper is back in the net and your two megastars, Mbappe and Vinicius Jr., just flat out refuse to drop back and press,
Yeah.
what does that actually look like for the rest of the team trying to win the ball?
Well, it leaves you trying to press the opposition with 8 outfield players against 11.
Wow, 8 versus 11.
Yeah. And at the elite level of the sport, that is mathematical suicide.
Yeah.
Every modern top-tier team is far too proficient at passing and retaining possession to ever lose the ball to an 8-man press.
They'll just pass right around it.
Exactly. They will simply pass around you, exhaust your midfield, and then just walk the ball into the massive spaces left behind.
So what does Mourinho do?
He will have to completely reinvent his approach to survive this disadvantage, because he cannot magically create more days in the week to train.
Obviously not.
And he likely does not have the political capital to force two global superstar forwards to become defensive workhorses.
So if you can't change the calendar and you can't change the stars, you have to buy a completely new supporting cast.
Right.
Mourinho basically has to submit a shopping list of players perfectly suited to survive in a deeply flawed, top-heavy system. Let's dig into the specific profiles the sources highlight here.
The required profiles are remarkably specific. Because the forwards aren't tracking back to help, the new fullbacks have to be hyper-aggressive, tireless workers who can effectively cover two zones of the pitch simultaneously.
And who are they looking at?
The targets specifically mentioned are André Raioux from Rayo Vallecano and Amar Dedic from Benfica.
Okay, and what about in the center of defense?
They need a ball-playing anchor, someone who can win the ball deep and instantly launch a 40-yard pass to start the transition. And the sources point directly to Borussia Dortmund's Nico Schlotterbeck.
Okay, but this is where the sources really made me pause. Because they also mention a heavy pursuit of Tottenham's Christian Cuti Romero.
Oh, yeah. Cuti Romero.
Now, Mourinho is famously obsessed with tactical discipline and absolute control, right?
Completely.
But Romero is notorious for seeing red cards flying into reckless tackles and just causing absolute chaos on the pitch.
He is chaos incarnate.
Right. And just to clarify for you listening, Mourinho generally wants to operate in a low block, which means the team parks themselves deep right in front of their own penalty area to absorb pressure rather than chasing the ball high up the pitch.
Yes, that's his classic style.
So how on earth does a chaotic player like Romero fit into that controlled low block?
I know, it seems like a total contradiction.
Yeah.
But it actually fits Mourinho's psychological profile perfectly.
How?
Mourinho secretly loves an aggressive, combative soldier on the pitch. When you are operating in that low block, constantly absorbing waves of attacks, you want a central defender who treats every penalty box clearance like it is a matter of life and death.
Oh, I see.
Yes, Romero comes with extreme disciplinary risks. But Mourinho believes he can harness that raw aggression into an intimidating physical force that protects the penalty area at all costs.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. You basically need a bouncer at the door of the penalty box.
Exactly.
And what about the midfield? Because that seems like the most critical battleground to solve that 8 versus 11 mathematical nightmare we just talked about.
Oh, there is a massive internal debate highlighted in the sources regarding the base of the midfield.
Okay.
The question is, do you build around Aurélien Tchouameni, or do you break the bank for someone like Manchester City's Rodri?
That's a tough choice.
It is. I mean, Tchouameni is a physical marvel. He's a fantastic destroyer who covers huge amounts of ground.
Right.
But Mourinho might desperately need Rodri's brain. Rodri has an absolutely unmatched ability for rapid, short-passing interpretation of the game.
So when you're under pressure.
Exactly. When you win the ball back deep in your own half and the opponent immediately counterpresses you, you need a player who can bypass that pressure with one or two instantaneous, perfect passes. Rodri processes that geometry better than anyone in the world.
Wow. And further up the pitch, the targets are fascinating because they aren't flashy Galacticos.
No, not at all.
He wants hardworking wingers like Chelsea's Pedro Neto. You know, guys who will literally sprint back all the way to their own corner flag just to defend.
Pure Mourinho archetypes.
Right. And for the center forward position, he wants veteran target men. The sources mention Ante Budimir or Vedat Muriqi.
Yeah, these are guys who know their exact role.
They won't complain to the media about being on the bench.
Never. And when they are subbed on in the 85th minute, they will aggressively battle opposing center backs, win aerial duels, and hold up the ball. The phrase used in Spanish football is they will eat the grass for the team.
Eat the grass. I love that.
Yeah, it is a deeply pragmatic survivalist shopping list, strictly designed to balance the squad.
But, you know, here's the catch. Mourinho can hand in a shopping list for Rodri and Schlotterbeck all he wants, but someone actually has to sign the checks.
Very true.
And right now, the guy holding the checkbook is fighting for his political life. Because for the first time in 20 years, Real Madrid is facing a legitimately contested presidential election on June 7th.
Yes. We have an 80-year-old incumbent, Florentino Pérez, facing a 37-year-old challenger, ENRIQUE.
A huge age gap.
Massive. And Florentino Pérez's strategy is entirely macro. He has massive media backing and deep structural ties to major Spanish financial institutions like Santander and BBVA.
So what's his pitch to the voters?
It's entirely about global corporate dominance. He is selling the concept of the Bernabeu Infinito and a massive new tech hub.
Just huge infrastructure assets.
Right. Assets designed to generate year-round global revenue. He wants the stadium hosting, NFL games, mega concerts, just acting as this relentless entertainment monolith.
And there's a fascinating detail in the sources regarding his long-term exit strategy, too. The master plan might actually include grooming tennis legend Rafael Nadal as his ultimate successor.
Yeah, that part is wild.
Because Nadal hits his 20-year club membership milestone, which is a strict requirement to even run for president in the early 2030s. Politically, it's brilliant. I mean, Nadal's image is practically invincible in Spain. You literally can't run an attack ad against Rafa Nadal.
No, you'd be laughed out of the country. It is succession planning designed to preserve the corporate structure long after Florentino steps down.
Right.
But then you look at the challenger, Enrique Riquelme, and his strategy is the exact opposite.
Completely different playbook.
He is completely ignoring the global fan base
Yeah.
because he knows that the millions of fans tweeting from around the world do not actually get a vote.
Right.
The only people who matter are the actual registered club members, the socios.
And his pitch to them is incredibly specific and local. He's promising a Ciudad del Socio, a socio city right in the Valdembebas training complex.
Yeah.
We're talking paddle courts, swimming pools, a 15,000-seat pavilion just for the members.
It's a huge undertaking.
The sources estimate this could cost up to 800 million euros with almost zero financial return for the club.
Right.
As an outsider looking at elite sports business, building a sprawling country club that doesn't generate global revenue seems absurd. What is the mechanism behind this promise?
Well, you have to understand the specific psychology of the socio. This isn't just about paddle courts. It is about honoring a broken promise.
A broken promise.
Yes. Many of the older voting members are still deeply bitter about an unfulfilled promise from the 2004 election, where they were assured a dedicated social club would be built.
Wow. Over 20 years ago.
Exactly. For decades, these local members have watched the club transform into a global entertainment machine that caters to international tourists and VIPs, while feeling their own local communal connection to the club slowly erode.
That makes total sense. So Riquelme is weaponizing that specific 20-year-old nostalgia.
He absolutely is. And he's also weaponizing the transfer market itself.
Oh, right. The mystery signings.
Yes. Riquelme is aggressively claiming on the campaign trail that he already has a sporting director, a proven manager, and 2 star playmakers fully signed if he wins.
And the sources are just speculating wildly about this. I mean, could the Spanish star be Rodri or Nico Williams? Could the mystery free agent be Bernardo Silva?
It's a classic electoral tactic, but an incredibly dangerous one.
Because if he names them...
If he names names, and those players or their agents publicly deny it, his entire campaign collapses overnight.
Right. So by keeping the names a mystery, he generates hope and dominates the media cycles. But, you know, this election isn't just being fought over swimming pools and secret transfer targets. It is fundamentally a war over how the club navigates the treacherous political waters of European football.
It really is.
And before we dive into this next part, I really need to speak directly to you, the listener. Because the sources contain highly charged political debates regarding sporting institutions, we want to be perfectly clear. We are not taking sides or endorsing these viewpoints, but merely reporting the contrasting strategies detailed in the source material.
Absolutely. We're just looking at what the documents say.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 candidates offer completely divergent paths on institutional foreign policy.
Right.
Riquelme is pitching a highly diplomatic approach. He wants to abandon the ongoing institutional wars, he wants to make peace with Javier Tebas and La Liga, and he wants to sit down at the table with UEFA to negotiate gracefully.
Basically reintegrating the club into the traditional European power structure.
Yes, exactly.
Which is a stark contrast to Florentino's combative stance. The sources detail how his camp essentially views UEFA as a mafia that only respects brute power.
It's a very aggressive stance.
They are pointing to the recent European court rulings regarding the Super League not as a dead project, but as a loaded gun.
Right, they view those rulings as legal leverage.
Exactly, to force UEFA to share massive amounts of streaming revenue that the clubs feel they generate themselves.
Furthermore, the battle extends to the domestic front. Florentino's camp is demanding severe, exemplary punishment for their historical rivals, Barcelona, regarding the ongoing Negreira refereeing scandal.
They want a scorched earth approach.
Yes, they're taking a hardline approach to the rivalry. Meanwhile, they accuse Riquelme's camp of being dangerously soft, suggesting Riquelme would be willing to let the scandal quietly fade away for the sake of institutional peace and better relations with the league executives.
Man, it truly is a battle for the very soul of how the club operates in the world. And it all comes down to the voting math. which, frankly, I want us to slow down and look at carefully because it is the hidden engine of this entire saga.
Yeah, the math is fascinating. Florentino is widely expected to win the presidency again.
Right.
However, many suspect his ultimate legacy plan is to radically change the club's corporate structure in the future, perhaps to protect the club from the financial dominance of state-owned teams.
Okay, so to pass a structural change of that magnitude.
The club's bylaws dictate he needs a supermajority. Specifically, he needs 50% plus one of the entirely registered 70,000-plus voting census to approve it.
Wait, of the entire census, not just the people who vote.
Exactly. He does not just need a majority of the people who bothered to show up on Election Day.
Let me make sure I'm wrapping my head around this. If I compare it to, like, a local town hall meeting,
Okay.
if there's 70,000 people in the town, Florentino needs roughly 35,001 people to physically vote yes. So if only 40,000 people show up to the town hall and he gets 30,000 votes, which is a huge majority of the room, he still loses because he didn't hit the 35,001 threshold of the entire town.
You've nailed the exact vulnerability. This is why Riquelme's campaign is so potent, even if he doesn't win the presidency.
Oh, I see.
Even if Riquelme only captures 10% or 20% of the vote, that acts as a massive mobilized protest vote. It essentially blocks Florentino's ability to easily push through those radical corporate reforms.
Wow.
Every single vote Riquelme steals, or every voter he convinces to just stay home out of frustration, is a concrete roadblock to Florentino's ultimate legacy.
It is an incredible intersection of events. I mean, just think about the sheer scale of the chaos we've covered today.
It's staggering.
You have a football team whose megastars refuse to defend, leaving their aging center backs out to dry, breaking the very offside traps designed to protect them.
Yeah.
You have a legendary aging manager forced to rethink the entire mathematical foundation of his pressing philosophy because the modern calendar has literally eliminated training days.
And hovering above all of it.
A billionaire's boardroom war being fought over paddle tennis courts, UEFA diplomacy, and the unfulfilled promises of 2004.
Exactly. And when you connect all these threads, it leaves us with a profound question about the future of the sport to ponder.
What's that?
As state-sponsored football clubs with infinite resources continue to dominate the global landscape, can a club that still relies on 70,000 local voting voters, who can literally be swayed by the promise of a local swimming pool, truly survive at the absolute pinnacle of the sport over the next few decades?
That is a fascinating conflict.
It's the ultimate clash of romantic tradition versus ruthless modern corporatism.
That is absolutely something to seriously mull over, because when you look at the blueprints of this club right now, that crack in the pillar isn't just about a slow defender.
No, it goes much deeper.
It goes all the way down to the foundation of who owns the team and what they value most. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the narratives behind the headlines, look past the PR, and we will see you next time.